What's up, everybody? Welcome to Talking Again podcast. I am your host, Fidel. This is The Tap. Thank you for tuning in, and please make sure and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to click on the notification bell. You can also find the show on all your popular podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen. Let's get this show started. What's up, everybody? This is Fidel, and this is Talking Again podcast. We're here on the Tap Studios once again. And here in studio, I have Amaris.
Yes.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Valeriano.
Valeriano.
Yeah.
I should know that. My name's Avendaño. It's weird. I should know that.
No, my whole name's weird. It's Amaris Valeriano.
Amaris. I always thought for whatever reason it was with the E, but I know why. It's because your Instagram is Amaris V-double-E.
Yes, and I'll explain why I do that later.
Okay. No, you can explain
there's
it
a
now.
reasoning behind
Let's
that.
do it now. Let's get into it now.
I'm a double major in child development, speech language pathology. So if I want to work in a school, I don't want people looking at my Instagram. Parents, little kid parents, because I want to work with little kids. So it worries me that in the future my modeling's gonna affect me.
Yeah.
So I have my last name as V, and then another backstory behind that was I grew up with very strict parents who didn't let me have a Facebook in high school. So I made my
smart
own.
Parents.
Yes, I made my own Facebook.
Yeah.
And I thought I was so smart by changing my last name to V.
Yeah.
And my parents found me in like a second. They were like, "Oh, do you have a Facebook?" And I was like, no." But yeah, no, I thought I was being sneaky, and then eventually I just like kept it because I didn't want anyone like looking up my exact last name. But I'm sure you can find me under my first name because it's not very hard to
I think
find.
for Facebook, I just typed in your full name and it came up right away. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Well, because my full name's now on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Because I have my family and everything on there now.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm older.
Yeah.
But before it was Amaris V.
That was pretty smart of you to do that. Well, you did that in high school when you got your Instagram?
My Facebook, and then I got my Instagram probably like my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I wanted to do at the end of high school, but I figured like I was just gonna put under Amaris V because Valeriano seemed too long for an Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I put under V, and then I started thinking about it after, and I was like, oh, I should have changed my first name too, but I couldn't think of anything, and the whole reasoning was in case I become a teacher or I decide to work in a school with younger kids.
Yeah.
I didn't want my career now to affect me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a different society now. And so hopefully people are more opening to it when I do graduate and I do get a job. But I mean, I know now with family members, they look at their kids' preschool teachers' Instagrams. And
you have employers that are looking at your social media before they hire you.
Yeah, no. So I already know that in my head. So that's why my last name isn't on there. Yeah. And I do like to keep kind of my modeling life separate from my personal life, especially family and stuff, because I come from a very Catholic religious family.
Yeah.
So that's the whole reasoning too. But basically the reason why my last name's not on my Instagram is just under V is for my future career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that for your family accepting you doing modeling? Because how they say, like, I know when I grew up, it was like, no, your body. That's why I don't have any tattoos.
Yeah,
I don't like your body is your temple.
Mm-hmm. I still don't live with my parents, and I will never get a tattoo because I know my dad would probably kick my butt. Yeah.
Well, I'm not afraid of my parents anymore. It's just that now I'm like, almost 40. I'm on the wrong side of 30, where I'm like, why am I gonna get a tattoo? I'm too old for a tattoo.
I mean, no. So I haven't lived with my family for 2 years now or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I left because I didn't like the rules at home. But I also knew leaving, I had to get 3 jobs, get myself out. My first house that I lived in was a 3-bedroom house with 12 roommates. Damn. And it was because that was what I could afford last time. This was actually just last year. And I had just started modeling. And I was working at 2 restaurants. And then I started modeling on the side. I was calling it my side hustle. Yeah. And that's when Liz found me. And Liz is from EV Agency, and she found me on Instagram, and I had just started working with her, and I would do a gig here and there, but it was a good, easy side money, and I was just doing it to get out of my parents' house, and I was living on my own, obviously, so it was just those little things that you needed that you forgot you needed. Yeah. Like towels, toilet paper, little things like that. Things yeah.
That add up.
And then I hated where I was living because I had 12 roommates, and I couldn't stand it, so I worked my butt off for a good, year and a half with the 3 jobs, and then modeling on the side, and
still going to school during that,
and going to school full time. Yeah, I had just started at Cal State LA, and so I just worked my butt off to get myself out of there, and I was just modeling, and then my parents couldn't say anything because I wasn't living at home, and they weren't. It's nothing against them or anything, but they weren't paying for my school or anything, as they shouldn't. I really don't think they should. And I think if they did, I wouldn't take it as seriously as I do now. And just because I pay for it now. So, I mean, they can't really say anything.
Yeah.
But I also don't have them on Instagram. Mm-hmm. But there's some things I'm sure they won't be proud of.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard thing for me, because I would like them to be supported. But, I mean, they're very strong-willed Catholic Mexican people. And, I mean, I respect their values. I respect their ways. They raised me right, which is good, because there's certain things where I just won't do. Like, I have people asking me to do some different things sometimes, and I just have to be like, no, like, and it's more in the back of my head, like, my mom and dad raised me right, you know, and not to say that anyone's parents didn't raise them right as well. It's just, as like I said earlier, it's like, it's to each their own. Yeah. But I know myself, I know my values, I know how it is, and I know how I'm going to respect myself. I know what career I want later, because I can't be modeling forever, and no disrespect to anyone who doesn't.
I have seen some.
We'll see.
Some
I don't
50
know.
plus models.
We will see.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's not my plan in life.
Yeah.
It isn't. Well, I don't think so. I don't know. I feel like every year it changes differently. Every year I feel like I change my goals and my mindset. Yeah. But no, I don't know. They can't really say anything at the end of the day, because I don't live with them.
Of course
but
not.
At the end of the day, I also do respect their values, and I do always have them in the back of my head, like, oh, my mom and dad won't like that one. Yeah. You know, they haven't seen the calendar. Yeah. They haven't.
Oh, the calendar. Let's talk about the calendar real quick. We'll get back into that. But so, yeah, you're featured on the 2020 El Troquero. How does it feel to be a El Troquero model?
Oh, my goodness. It's fun. I love working with Laura. Yeah.
Laura Machuca?
Yes.
Oh, my bad.
Mama Laura.
Mama Laura.
Another mom.
Another mom.
Mama Laura.
So, but like going back to that, have you guys have that conversation of the modeling? I'm sure you've already had it, but
my mom doesn't like it. Yeah. She's always like, "Ay, mija, that's gonna affect your future," and I do know that it's gonna probably affect my future and bite me in the butt later. But
I mean, nowadays maybe not. I mean, it almost seems like everybody. I'm not to offend you, but it almost seems like everybody's modeling. You know, like I've thought about going out there and just kind of
becoming an Instagram model.
Why not? You know, but no, I mean, I think it's more normal. It's more accepted now, right? In society.
I guess, but they do say, like, my professors do say, like, watch what you do and watch what you post, because it will be looked at. Yeah. And I have told professors, like, they'll be like, oh, what do you do for your job? And I, like, don't want to say. Like, at school, usually at work, and usually, like, when meeting people, I'm only a waitress. I don't model. Yeah. I don't really like to say it. And then when they find me on Instagram later, they'll be like, oh, you model. And then it's like, oh, okay, I explain it after. Yeah. But usually, like, I don't tell anyone. And I have slightly mentioned it a couple times to people. And they'll just say, watch what you're posting. Yeah. But somewhere just, like, don't be nude, you know? Right. Not that there's anything wrong with that either. Yeah. Like, it just depends. But for me, it's just, I probably want to work in a school later. Yeah. A school or children's hospital. That's the goal. So if I do, it's just, I'm just worried about my future. Yeah. That's what it is at the end of the day.
Of course, you know, it's a major concern, you know, to do that. But I mean, yeah, you know, what about, so 3 jobs, you said, right?
Not anymore. So now it's just 2. Yeah. I was able to quit a restaurant, but I do model more. But it's because the first year of modeling, I was just, I was kind of just doing like in-store promos. I think I ran into you at one, didn't I?
When?
At a supermarket. It was around this time of year.
Here. Was it? It was right here in Food for Less.
Was it? Yeah. I just remember it was this time of year. Right.
Yeah. Oh, didn't you give me some boxing gloves maybe?
Probably. I gave you like a little regalo.
Yeah. That's right. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I was just doing those. I don't think I was in the ring yet.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. It's all coming to me. You had the big bear with you. Remember that dude dressed up in a big bear? Oh, that was
my supervisor, and he came in like a onesie because he came from a onesie party the night before, and that's how he showed up to work. Supervisor? I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, no.
He's dressed up in a bear suit, guys.
He just kind of, we always have supervisors. They kind of like just watch over us, make sure no one's crossing the line, and just make sure we're doing our jobs, not sitting on our phones.
Do you get a lot of that? Like, a lot of the dudes that kind of take, because you get that a lot. Can I take a picture?
Yeah, no, and there's no problem with that either. Yeah. I really don't think there's any problem with that.
But the ones that cross the line.
I mean, you do get the guys who will be like, oh, and they go like that, and they try and touch your butt. But I mean, there's tricks like where we're taking a picture and I grab their hand right away and I pick it up. Or like one of the girls taught me, you keep your hand like this when you go into a picture. So let's say I'm taking a picture on this side of you, you put your hand behind you and you pose like that and you kind of block your butt. So I mean, there's ways. I mean, but you know, like
tricks of the trade.
The more you do, the more you realize and the more you become smarter with it, where I just already know when a guy's gonna, right away I grab their hands. If I feel like going anywhere in that area, I grab their hands and pick it up. And yeah, no, I do that frequently, but the pictures don't bother me. You get used to it after a while, but you know, like just some people you know right away. Usually when they go to take a picture where they're feeling. So I just know I pick up their hands usually and I go like this.
My favorite is a stalker photo one. You know, the stalker photo guy, the one that's like passing by and he kind of pretends to take a picture, but he doesn't. And then he tries to sneak that in there. You don't notice that?
No, but
you probably don't notice it. They're pretty good at that.
When I do those supermarket promos, a lot of the guys, because what it is when you sell what you're supposed to be selling, you're supposed to take a picture with the person for our boss basically, and we send it in kind of as like proof that we worked and that we sold something, and that's how you get your little gift. And some guys will be like, I can't take a picture with you. I'm like, why? It's not going anywhere. It's going to my boss. Like I tell them, like, please, it's for my boss. And they're like, no, like I can't take a picture with you, my wife, or like my girlfriend. Like my girlfriend's gonna get mad. My girlfriend's gonna get mad. But then it's so funny because sometimes there's the girlfriends are like, go take a picture with the girls. Like they're so cute. They'll be like, can I get a picture with you? And it's so funny.
Or the babies.
Yeah, but we can't. If it's a liquor company, you can't take a picture of the baby or kids.
My bad.
No one under 21. Yeah.
I keep trying to look down here because I know that I remember it was Montejo. And it was a Montejo bottle opener. Brown. Anyways, I still use it.
Yeah. I think dope. That day too, I came from like another location than we drove. I didn't realize it was in West Covina. I couldn't remember. But I was remembering on the drive here, I was like, I ran into him at an in-store demo one time when I was doing one of those.
So those in-store demos, those are the promos that you were talking about? Was that through EV?
Through EV agency, yes.
So is that kind of like where you get started? Like you go to a bar maybe or like restaurants and you see the Tecate girls every once in a while handing out beads or whatever?
Yeah. And I still kind of do that too through another agency as well. I mainly do bar ones with them. And then with EV agency, I do the in-store demos because, she has a lot of those and they're quick, easy money. But you also need to be bilingual for them. And
mostly Mexican beer though, right?
No, it's different. Like right now it's Absolute Vodka. There isn't too many Tecate for in-store. Montejo. It just depends on the time of year. Usually around this time it's like Absolute, Jameson. She has a lot of different accounts. So
Montejo has to spend a lot of money on marketing and advertising because their beer sucks. I can edit that part out. I'm sorry.
I can't vouch for that one. People are always like, have you tried the beer? I'm like, yeah, I drink it all the time. I'm like, no,
man, they put a lot of money into it and the marketing and they spent so much money that now they're like, how are we gonna make money back on this thing? Because they were there and whatever. It's a whole nother story.
I haven't really tried it. Yeah. I do like my micheladas, but I usually get it with another beer.
Now, I would only have the Montejo and a michelada. That's it.
Because it covers the
Dodger
flavor.
Stadium. Yeah, Dodger Stadium. That's all they have it.
And you know what? I've worked at Dodger Stadium for Montejo beer.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
There you go.
At their what's their bar called? One of the bars. Oh. And you just walk around telling people like, oh, it's Michelada Monday. Yeah. I used to do those. I don't do them anymore.
You're a big Dodger fan. How hard is it for you to be working at a Dodger game and not
looking at the game? Yeah. I know. It's more just like you want to enjoy the game. Like you can see it kind of when you're working, but it's more just like you can't sit down, have a drink, and eat. You know, you want to go have like sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I was sitting down, or like sometimes I get to work concerts, but you can't. Like we're working, so you can't really get to sit down and fully enjoy it, you know. Or sometimes I run into my friends, I'm like, oh hey, and they're like, come sit with us. I'm like, yeah, I'm working. Like, but sometimes I feel like it doesn't look like we're working, but we're working. Like,
well, that's when you're having fun.
Yeah, it's just like because it's so much fun. Like sometimes, like literally, modeling is my break from waitressing. Yeah. Because I used to waitress 7 days a week, and then I would be so excited when I had a modeling job. I'd be like, cool, I don't have to waitress tonight because I'd go and work as a model somewhere, and like I don't mind the beer promos.
They talk a lot about the waitressing is the tips, right?
Yes,
big on tips.
Mm-hmm. I work in a steakhouse, so
but you're not working as a waitress anymore.
I am.
Oh, you
at
still
the
are?
Steakhouse.
Oh, okay.
2 days a week, 3 days a week. It depends. I pick up a lot of shifts doing that because it's good money. I was working in a Mexican restaurant. I didn't enjoy that one.
Why?
it's just like kind of like customers. They're kind of rude sometimes, and then it's just the tips. But yeah,
they're not good tippers.
It wasn't compared to the steakhouse.
Yeah,
it just depends. There's bigger bills at the steakhouse, and I've worked in the steakhouse for 7 years now. Mm-hmm. I started there like right after high school, I think, and I started off as a hostess, and then they put me in as a server, and literally like everything I learned in the restaurant was at that certain steakhouse, and then I went to the Mexican restaurant, and it was very like bar style, and I hadn't really done it before, and they just kind of like threw me in. Yeah. And so I kind of had to like learn my own way, and everything was fast paced. People were mean. Like,
is bar style like where you just one person does like everything? Like
kind of
you
like
can be a host, you can be a server, you can be a waitress.
No, like bar style is just kind of like everything's so much more quick paced. Like the steakhouse, you stop, you get their drinks. Some people like to enjoy their drinks for a while, and then you put in an appetizer. They enjoy their appetizer, and then you put in their steaks, and like it's very like slow paced and taking your time, and people want to sit down and talk to you. And actually at the Mexican restaurant, people want to keep you at your table forever, but I had like 8 other tables to worry about, and like people would be chugging their beers, taking tequila shots, and it's not like that at the steakhouse. There's no shots. Like, and what else? I don't know if I want to say it. You could edit it out after, but they used to let us take shots at our tables. So they took it
at the Mexican restaurant.
Yeah. So another reason why I quit, because guys took it as disrespectful when you didn't take their tequila shots. The only reason why I don't want you to put it in there is because like I don't know if it's legal or not.
I don't know. We could figure it out.
I have no idea. I mean, you can look it out.
Yeah, we'll look it up
after.
and then we'll make that decision.
No. So I used to be able to take tequila shots with my tables, and then they would find it disrespectful if you said no, and they'd get all upset, like the guys would. And then I thought I was gonna get smart, and so I would wash my tequila glass in tequila, dump out the tequila, and put water in it, and then they'd be like, "Oh, like." You don't have a real shot, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I do. So I'd go and make sure to give them their shot, and they'd be like, oh, switch with me. I'm like, no. I was like, I have my own shot. Yeah. And I would tell them like, oh, it's because I like this certain tequila, and then I'd be like, oh, smell it. Yeah. And then like I would get caught so many times, and then when I would get caught, they'd make me take 2 more shots. So I'd be like trying to work, and it wasn't
getting tipsy by the end of the night.
Yeah, no.
You had to do that Coyote Ugly trick. You remember that movie Coyote Ugly? I might be aging myself with the movie.
No, I've seen it.
So you know where they take the shot and then drink it, or chase it down with the beer, but you're spitting it back in.
Yeah, but that's hard because
I've tried that. Like, it's hard. I can't do it.
Beers are full. Like when you have a beer glass, it's like full to the top. So
you got to drink half a beer.
Yeah.
You got to drink half the beer.
No, but I'm working, so I can't be like chilling, you know.
Try to give you a hard time.
Yeah. No, I used to try and figure out where I'd like go and like put it behind me over here. I still do that trick. Yeah. People will make shots. Oh, thanks, and then I go and I put it behind me, and then or I'll like throw it. If I see an empty glass behind me, I throw it in that glass.
Yeah. Not much of a drinker or what?
No, not preferably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only in Cancun.
Yeah.
No comment. No comment. So how is it? So balancing the work and school.
How is it?
Yeah, because you got.
It's hard.
Waitressing, modeling.
It's called using the hotspot on your phone all the time to finish papers and homework online, and I spend most of my time in my car. I'm never home. I finally got my own apartment. I don't know if I went to that, but I've been living there for a year now.
So you went from 12 roommates to just
to
yourself.
just me.
All right.
Yeah, soy solita over there.
That's good.
But so I have my own studio apartment, but I'm never even there. So I'm barely there. I'm there to sleep, and that's it. Do laundry, and sometimes I don't even have time to do laundry. Yeah.
Well, that's when you gotta start paying. You gotta start paying for that kind of service.
I tried paying my little brothers. They were like, no. I was like, hey, I'll drop off the laundry if you guys want to do it. And I think my younger brother did it once. Yeah. But he's a little hustler now. He has like a little side car detailing business. He's a photographer. He's works at a vet office. He's starting to be a veterinarian. Yeah. He's like me. Yeah. So he doesn't do my laundry anymore. He won't even wash my car. I'm like, you have a business, but you won't wash my car. He's like, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, he won't come to me and do it. But I mean, it's hard. I spend most of my time in my car, so it's a whole lot of like packing your meals. Because then on top of it all, like with modeling, you have to like keep yourself in shape, you know? So it's a whole lot of packing like healthy meals in your car because you can't be going fast food every day.
Right.
You know, or drinking.
I mean, you can, but it's not good.
No, because it's going to show on your body. Yeah. You're not going to be able to get jobs. Like, you have to think about it in that way, too.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I have a trainer. I don't like paying a trainer, but I have to for my job. You know, I have to think of it for my job.
Well, that's all part of the job. Like you said, the job, right? You have to. That's work. When you're out there working out, you're
Which
putting
is,
in the time.
I'm
It's
glad
like,
you realize that, because I feel like a lot of people do that, or like a lot of people think like, oh, modeling's easy. Yeah, it's pretty easy.
yeah,
But you have to keep yourself in shape, because the minute you don't, you might lose a job. You might not get booked for jobs. There's multiple things that can happen. So in between that is like, you have to stay healthy, because you can't be like, you can't call off work, really. You can't much call in a backup, because clients will specifically choose you when you send in your picture sometimes.
yeah.
So I mean, it's all about keeping yourself healthy and shape, because the minute you don't, you're gonna lose jobs. That's
Yeah.
what it is at the end of the day. So like, people are always like, oh, why are you always working out? I'm like, so I can eat what I want sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's not just that. Like, when during the week, I pretty much, like when I'm at school and stuff, I eat pretty clean. I pack my meals with me, warm
Right.
it up in the microwave there. As soon as I get to work, I warm up another meal. And it's a whole lot of like in the car. And sometimes I eat my meals cold, because that's what I have to do.
I was just gonna say that there's times when you don't have anything to when I was
warm
eating
it up.
clean, I was eating cold.
Yeah,
cold,
you
cold
have
chicken
to.
and
Like, not
rice.
even the gas stations have a microwave, I don't think. Or
Yeah, sometimes you'll be lucky at 7-Elevens though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they'll let you do that even
I
if you're
get
not
too
buying anything.
embarrassed.
Yeah, that's the thing. It took me like 2
embarrassed.
weeks because I was embarrassed, and finally I was like, man, I'm tired of eating this cold.
Yeah.
I asked them, they're like, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I always carry like a little lunchbox with me.
Yeah.
And then there's a little side trick too. If you know you're gonna be like only gone for like maybe 4 hours, the Dollar Tree 99-cent store has these bags. They're like big. You can get them at the grocery store too, but they're cheaper at the 99-cent store.
Like the
Dollar
insulated
Tree.
bags?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so keep your food either hot or warm,
Yeah.
and I warm it up a lot right before I leave,
Mhm.
and I hold it in the bag and wrap it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then when I get time I eat it. But that's only when I have like a short one. But I feel like I'm always hungry, so
Yeah.
I take food with me everywhere, because I'm always hungry.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
You did say right now that modeling is easy. I would say, I mean, I don't know.
I
I
mean,
don't model.
it's
I
not
don't model,
easy.
but walk me through a photo shoot.
A photo
a day of a
shoot?
photo shoot.
I mean, what people don't realize too is like, you have to get hair and makeup ready. And it's not just before photo shoots. Like, I feel like I'm getting the same amount of ready for actual jobs too, because they always say you need to come looking your best. So sometimes I take 2 hours into consideration if I know I have to do my hair and makeup. I can't just come up showing with, like, right now I feel like I'm wearing no makeup because this is nothing for me.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's usually fake eyelashes, all this stuff. So I mean, you're thinking on top of it, like a good 2 hours, planning outfits before, coming to the shoot on time. That's another thing is, like, people don't realize that the modeling, you have to be, I think people think it's an easy job or something. So, like, you have to be on time. Like, for me, on time is 30 minutes early. Usually, you have to be parked, sometimes an hour. But, like, the biggest thing is just being on time. And it's hard because it's, like, sometimes I work till late the night before and I'm getting my butt up early to do my hair and makeup for a job, or, like, sometimes there's traffic that I'm going to encounter on the way to LA or different spots. So, I mean, for a photo shoot, it's like I'm probably looking at I'll probably enable myself like good 2-3 hours for hair and makeup.
Yeah.
And then packing everything up. And sometimes I try and pack everything up the night before, have it all hung up so I can just pop it in my car. But usually I'm not that organized, or I'm too lazy. But yeah. You're thinking a good 2-3 hours for hair and makeup before.
And people will say like that, pull boohoo, she's modeling and she's getting,
I know people are always like, oh my God, your life's so hard.
Right. Yeah. But when in reality, you just explained a person that works at an office job that does have to wake up early, do their makeup so that they can look good for someone at work when, it's work. It's the same thing, it's like, but, I had a train of thought and I totally spaced out on it. Oh, so when you do a shoot, aren't you still kind of like, you got the job, but aren't you still kind of trying out for the next job too?
Kind of, yeah, because you have to know how you're gonna pose, and then like it just depends on the job. But with photo shoots, you have to know how to pose, because if you don't know how to pose, they're not gonna want to work with you again.
Right.
And like, it just depends what kind of photo shoot. Like when you have e-commerce, which is like online boutiques or online stores, you have to know how to make the clothes look good, while you have to show the item that you're modeling basically while modeling.
Yeah.
So that's a really hard part. But after it just takes practice too. Like once you start booking the jobs, like you just become well mannered in it, kind of like you just know, you start learning, okay, these poses look good on me, but they also show the item really well. You start knowing like, okay, this is how I can model all the different poses I can do. And another big thing that I learned from Liz, who's from EV Agency, is
Elizabeth Vasquez.
yeah, Elizabeth Velasquez.
I'm sorry, apologize.
you just you look in the mirror and you practice. And that's what I do a lot of times before photo shoots is like I kind of like angle myself in the mirror. Like I have a full length mirror and I have to look at what poses are going to make me look better.
Yeah.
Because that's the hardest, for me, it's the hardest part is the posing, because you can't just like stand there and be like, you know, like you have to know like what facial expressions look good. Like you can't do the same facial expression. You have to change, like excited, look sad, look happy. Like you have to be able to change it like that. And every photographer is different how they like their style too. And so, I mean, it's that part's difficult. I think like just showing the different items sometimes, but like for the El Troquero, it's kind of just like you're showing the truck. So you got to figure out ways that are going to make you look good. I think the hardest part is like what's going to make you look thin and good. Cause sometimes in my head, I'm like, oh, this pose is going to look great. And then I see it. And I'm like, oh my God, why did I do that pose? Because it's just like, why am I bending like that? Why am I doing this? Yeah. Like, I think in my head, like when I see, I'm like, why did I do that?
Do you ever do any research? Like when you know that you're going to go pose for certain, like for the trucks, do you go and do research and look at some previous poses from other models?
Kind of. With El Troquero, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into yet because I was still really new.
Was that your first time with the El Troquero for that?
Yes. That was my first time. So, and that was my first time. I think my first time ever doing a photo shoot with EV agency too. And I think just like a big photo shoot in general. Yeah. But that one I actually did. The girls made me feel really comfortable though. Yeah.
What about the people that were helping out? Did they make you feel comfortable?
You made me feel terrible. Just kidding. I'm kidding. I know you're just saying that because you were there. Right. No. Yeah, I think it's just like the people you work with too, and they make you feel comfortable and they help you. They're like, oh, that looked really good on you, or do that again, but turn your face like this. So, but you're going to be lucky when you have people like that, because you have to think about it. Some people are hiring you as a model, so you need to know how you're going to be modeling before. You can't just show up and not know how to model, because it does. I know it sounds stupid, but it does take it does take practice. It does take time, like figuring out. And I do look at other people's like Instagrams, or sometimes I look on Pinterest or Google things, and it's just more for inspiration. And I kind of just like look at it in the mornings before, and then I go to my photo shoot and I try and keep it in my head, but most of the time I forget about it. But that is where I get a lot of my inspiration from. Or when I see like other pictures on Instagram, I'm like, oh, that pose looked really good on that girl. Like I'm gonna try it next time and see if it looks good on me. So it just depends on your body type. There's a lot of things to it.
Well, no, I mean, I've seen your page and you have a lot of different poses, so it could be crazy. But I was scrolling down to the page. That's where I do my research. Some people call it trolling. I call it research. So I
definitely need to delete stuff off of that Instagram. I think my first posts are still on there too.
Probably. I don't remember, but I did noticed some pageant stuff. You did pageant stuff, and not just. I had noted on there it's a Grand Prix one, because I remember seeing something like that before. But there's like before that you were La Habra princess.
Yeah, in high school I was Miss La Habra. Yeah. Or Miss La Habra princess. They have a whole court.
Was that the first thing that you did?
The first pageant I ever did.
Okay. Yeah. So you weren't like a baby pageant.
17, 18. No.
Your mom wasn't taking to you.
No, I was not a cute kid when I was younger. I was very. I was very not so cute. I was very awkward. I was always a loser in high school. I was bullied. I had to change schools at one time because I was being bullied. Yeah, I changed in middle school. I think in 7th grade, I had to move schools because I was being bullied so bad.
Are you serious?
Yeah. No.
What you're too shy? You're the quiet girl?
I was just quiet back then. I mean, I still have thick eyebrows, so I don't fill in my eyebrows at all or anything. But back then, big eyebrows weren't a thing, so they would be like, oh, you're Frida Kahlo. Like, they would make fun of me, or like, I was just like, I was too young to even be shaving, so I was hairy, and they'd make fun of me because I was hairy. Like, everything, they'd make fun of my shoes. But, like, my mom and dad did the best they could for me, and we'd go to Payless and get our shoes. Like, I couldn't have Converse like some of the other kids. Yeah. You know? So, it was, like, everything then, and it just made me so, like, I had depression for a while, anxiety. I wouldn't wear shorts, or if I did wear shorts, it'd be down to here, and they'd be big, baggy shorts. Or I'd wear sweatshirts all the time. It'd be, like, 90 degrees outside, I'd be wearing a sweatshirt. And I wouldn't wear sandals. I was so self-conscious about my feet, like everything, because everyone degraded me, I felt like. And
just body shame.
People who didn't even know that they were doing that to me, it was already getting to me at a young age. So people
close to you, like family members,
even family members, that I was too tall, so I hunched down a lot, and it's really hard for me, like, keeping good posture now, because like my family, they didn't mean to, but in my head I was younger, I wasn't confident, and like a lot of the little things, I don't think they even know that they did that to me, but a lot of the little things that they told me when I was younger is that, like, oh, you're so tall, because my mom's family's, they're Mexican, they're really short.
Yeah.
And my dad's family is really tall.
Yeah.
And then for my mom's family, I was always like, they're all like probably up to my shoulders or shorter.
Yeah.
And then my mom would sometimes be like, oh, wear heels. And I wouldn't want to wear heels because like I was so tall compared to everyone on my mom's side of the family. And that's where all the girls are.
Oh.
And so in the pictures, like my aunts would be like, oh, you're so tall, get down shorter. Like, so I would hunch over a lot.
Get down shorter, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think they realized they were doing what they did. And in my head, I was like, oh my God, I'm so tall. But now I think I'm like, wow, like being this height is beautiful. But I didn't know that then.
Yeah.
But for modeling, it works out for me because it's a great height, you know? And sometimes I'm still too short, you know?
Yeah.
But, and then in my dad's family, I was kind of like, I was mid-sized, but
average,
I have little cousins who are way taller than me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it is what it is.
Well,
but
how'd you get over the whole fact of you feeling insecure by yourself and all that? How did you get over that?
I think honestly, it probably just happened like probably 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
And that's the only reason why I'm able to do modeling now too.
So
Because
during the pageantry stuff, you still felt like that?
oh yeah, I always thought I was fat. I wasn't good enough because I didn't even win that pageant. I didn't. I think I was first runner up.
For which one?
Miss La Habra.
La Habra?
Yeah, and then a couple years later, I did Miss Toyota Grand Prix, and I feel like that's when my confidence started. But I was already 21, I think. I don't remember how old I was. 21, 22. And I can hear it raining now.
You hear the rain?
Yeah,
I was going to say something too,
what
but I'm like, what is that?
No, it's the rain.
Yeah, I thought my mic was going out.
So when I did Miss Grand Prix, I was starting to get a little bit more confident, but I really think the confidence comes within yourself, and you have to do it on your own. No one's going to teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
No one's, because I went to therapy. I did multiple things for
What
self-esteem.
working for you? The therapy?
I did see like a counselor, and that did help, but it was more like other problems. I had like a really bad breakup when I was in high school. I lost my high school sweetheart, and another breakup after that was someone I was with for like 2 years. I didn't take him well.
Yeah.
And I think it was more just the confidence thing. I didn't know how to carry myself. I didn't know what I was going to do. And it wasn't that I depended on those people. I was still living at home. I didn't in no way dependent on those people, but I thought no one would love me. But the whole thing was, I think I just had to find myself. Yeah. And when I moved out, that was the big thing too, because when I was living at home, I kind of always did what my parents wanted me to do, what they did, and everything they had in their head for me.
You're struggling to find yourself. Huh?
Yeah. And then once I moved out, that kind of opened up, and Miss Grand Prix helped a lot too. And I don't, when I did that, it helped a lot too, because that's when I was like, oh, I really like this stuff, but I didn't know what it was. Yeah. And then Elizabeth found me on Instagram. She's like, do you want to try this? And I didn't know what it was. And it was very similar to what I was doing at Grand Prix. And so Grand Prix kind of opened the door for me. And then Liz brought me into the door, basically. Yeah. So without her, I would have never started this. And she kind of exposed me. I tell her all the time, like, I'm so thankful for you, because you exposed me to so many things, from photo shoots to promos, Insta promos, like lots of different things, music videos, that where I know what I like now and what I like more and what I don't, or like, and even then at the end of the day, sometimes I'm going to do it because I have time. Yeah. But it's just like I learned, it was just finding myself. But like when I was younger, my parents put me in therapy, or like sent me to conferences because they thought maybe it would help, because they knew I was struggling. I was always like, I had friends, but like it wasn't like I never had close friends, or like my friends would come and go, and like because they'd always move on to like bigger and better things. Yeah. But I just didn't know how to be alone. My family was always there. I couldn't, like, I don't know what was wrong, but it was basically, it was more, I felt like I had to find it myself. Yeah. And then once I found it, I was like, now I'm like, I go to get dinner by myself, and it's one of my best.
Wait, do you go to the movies by yourself?
No, I haven't done that yet, but I don't like movies. I don't like movies. I hate movies. They make me anxious. Like, I feel like I could be doing other things. I want to be out doing things and not sitting in a movie.
That's funny.
But when I was younger, I loved movies. I would just sit at home and watch movies all day. Yeah.
The transition from being, doing the pageant stuff to modeling, it's big. It's the big difference, right? Or not? So
the high school pageant was Miss La Habra, and that was like my senior year going into my first year of college. That one was more like working community service, working in the community. That was more that one. Miss Grand Prix was very kind of like similar to promo like, and you do all these promotions until the big weekend, and that weekend you're basically like the star of the weekend. You take pictures with people. You're on the track with the race car drivers. You get to go on the race cars. You do the media day.
Yeah.
You do a lot of stuff. So I feel like the Grand Prix stuff is very similar to modeling because you do photo shoots for them. But they actually don't have Miss Toyota Grand Prix anymore. So it's not even Miss Toyota Grand Prix anymore. I want to say it's, or it's not even Toyota Grand Prix anymore. I think it's Acura. I don't remember.
I don't know. Yeah.
I gotta look into it, but I totally forgot. No, I have to remember. They just changed
Well,
the sponsorship. It's not Toyota anymore.
Anything on this show, so we don't. Just
It's well, you're looking at my Instagram. That's a fact check. No, I'm kidding.
well, not during the show.
No, so it's not Toyota Grand Prix anymore.
Okay.
It's a different sponsor now.
Yeah.
So they don't even have the pageant anymore.
Oh, okay.
No.
Wait, was that the last one? Yours?
Yeah, I
That's
actually got the
cool.
last year.
Ah,
yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
No, and then they still invited me back last year
Uh-huh.
to work it as well the last day on the Sunday.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, so I still work with them too. I love them. They're like a whole little family.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I still work with them. If they called me, I would still work with them.
So, but so going from the pageant stuff, like I was telling you, you know, doing the promo stuff to modeling, where you're out there, you're putting it all out there. You know, was that any difference, like as far as comfort wise?
Just like at first doing photo shoots, I was like, I don't want to wear a bikini, and then now I'm like, okay, I'm wearing a bikini, whatever. Like I wear a bikini.
But that
anyways.
wasn't like night and day. It was it like I have to do it, and then I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, like it was just kind of like, you know, I'm just gonna try. I'm
gonna
gonna try.
Liz just pulling you into that door, like, hey, let's go.
No, like she had posted like, oh, we're looking for models for El Troquero.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what, let me just try it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. But I think that, and even then, that was like the first time I shot in a bikini, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe the second time.
Yeah.
But I think the first time is kind of like, I don't know. Especially coming like, I just think in the back of my head, my parents will always have like a little voice in the back of my head.
Yeah.
And so, but even then, like the first time I tried it, it's just one of those things you have to just try.
Yeah.
You know, and if I always say just try it, and then if you're comfortable with it, but just try it, and if you don't like it, you don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
But you got to stand your ground and say, I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah.
You have to be able. That's another thing is like girls will tell me, oh, I don't like that they did this. I'm like, well, did you say something? No. Well, you need to say something. You need to speak up for yourself because that's the big thing. People will keep pushing you, and
well, yeah, I mean, to play devil's advocate somewhat on that, it's like if I don't know, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Exactly.
So if you don't tell me that, you know, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You have to kind of speak up for yourself, and like that's a hard thing too, because sometimes you'll see the same people, and then like you'll see them at an event later after you told them like, please don't send me that message, or please leave me alone, you know. And it's more just like you have to do it politely, because you have to think about it like, I'm gonna see him at work later, you know.
Yeah.
But I do think you have to stand up for yourself and stand your ground and say, I'm not gonna do this, or like there's certain things I won't do. Like I'll probably never post topless, or not in a bikini. It would have to be in a bikini, you know, or something covering me.
Right.
But I mean, to each their own. Some people want to post topless. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But for me, it's just that maybe I'm not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So
that's not your style.
No. Yeah. And no disrespect to anyone who wants to. If you do, go for it. You know, like you'll look beautiful, I'm sure. So you should post topless. Kidding.
I was thinking about it right now that you're kind of talking me into it.
You're like,
No, how do you deal with some of the creepers though? Like especially right now on Instagram and social media.
On Instagram, it's funny. I mean, it's funny. I kind of like look at it and just like. Okay.
Do you block them or just like? Well,
I personally leave it, but then like I've had a couple of like inappropriate comments and then they get blocked. Yeah. But usually I just leave it. I'm like, oh, they're a fan, whatever. But I have been getting weird messages lately and I know a lot of people have been getting them where they'll be like, oh, like, you can make me happy and I'll Venmo you $1,000. I think it's so funny.
That might actually be true though.
No. Okay, actually one time I tried it. I was just like, okay, my Venmo is. And then he was just like, yeah, just send me your Venmo and we can talk. And I was like, okay. And I just did it as like a joke because me and my friends were laughing. And he's like, I want to be your sugar daddy. And I was like, all right. So I put in my Venmo. Yeah. And he was like, never did anything.
Weirdos.
Yeah, but I've been getting a lot of those messages.
But
lately.
you hear like so there's guys out there like have a lot of money, very wealthy dudes that are paying for escorts, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that's everywhere.
So
I mean, you go to Vegas and you see it.
Right.
No, I don't get offered for that on Instagram or anything, but I mean, you have to. I think I don't know how that works, but I know like the last time I went in Vegas, there was a lot of that as well. But I mean, I've never been offered any of that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I don't think I've been offered any of that.
No.
I've been offered photo shoots, but usually like obviously it's my job. So I think a lot of people forget too that it's my job. So I'm going to be taking time out of my day and not work with someone else to work with you. And then they don't want to pay, or like, they're like, oh, you want me to pay you? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
So that's a really awkward situation sometimes too. Some people don't care and they'll be like, all right, this is my rate, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, sometimes I'm like, okay, like, I say this, and now I know because I've been doing it for a little bit longer, where I say, this is my rate, and I have to put my foot down. But, like, a lot of clothing companies will be like, oh, can you model more for me? And they don't want to pay, or like, they don't realize that they have to pay. And it's like, I do this for other companies for money.
Yeah.
And so I think people forget that that's my job.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think like you said, you say it up front. When it's in, like, you shouldn't depend on that implication of you have to pay. You have to just throw it out there.
But I think people forget too that, like, I think the other hard thing is there's so many like Instagram models, and like a big thing between models now is like just taking low pay. And we say that like when one girl takes a low pay, like that person, it makes it acceptable for a lot of us to take a lower pay as well. So it kind of brings down our pay level. But when we start taking higher pay on things, then it brings up our pay level. So we kind of try and band together and say, like, you know, I'm not going to work for lower than this amount.
Yeah.
And but there's always a girl who's probably going to do it cheaper for you, you know? And so that's another thing where a lot of girls will do it for free and post on their Instagram. And sometimes I'm like, like, you just kind of ruined it for the rest of us, because then like, it's like, that's my job, you know, that's how I make a living. That's how I pay my bills.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people forget that, especially from clothing companies. They forget that that's my job. And if I'm doing it for you for free, that means I'm missing a job somewhere else.
Right. Do you ever, do you guys, is it accustomed to collect up front, or is that something that you guys can do, or?
I mean, I usually do the job now. Well, when I go through the agency, I don't have to worry about that at all.
Right. Oh, we talked about that a little bit earlier.
So when I go through an agency, I don't have to worry about it at all.
You have that sense of security.
And it's comforting. And then when I do it on my own, there's always that fear in the back of my head that I might not get my payment. But there is like you could do, what is it called, liability. You could do like a claim on it as well. But even then, you're not guaranteed to take your money. You have to go to LA, wait in line, put in that claim. I think it's a certain amount of money as well to put in. Yeah, I'm not sure. I forget what it is, but there is ways where you can go and put in a claim for it, saying, okay, this person didn't pay me. This is my proof. And like text messages are a big thing. Save your text messages. Make those screenshots. Save your proof, because at the end of the day too, people will be like, oh, I never told you that. And luckily I've never had that problem, but I've heard lots of horror stories where people are like, oh, they said they paid me and they didn't pay them. So I mean, that makes me nervous all the time too when I do it on my own. So sometimes, most of the time I do go through an agency. Rarely do I work without one. But most of the time I go through an agency because it's just more the payment security. Because,
you know, it's funny that I never really thought about that, but like, for example, if I'm getting work done here at my house and someone comes in and does 1 day's worth of work, they can go out there to that same agency or county or whatever and file a claim that they did 3 days worth of work, and then I'm getting screwed over on it, and they have proof that they were here. So me as a homeowner, it's my job to make sure that I know when he was here. That's why I have cameras everywhere, first of all. So. But no, yeah. But seriously, that's like the same thing. That's exactly the same thing.
No, yeah. So I think, like, because a lot of people will tell me, why do you still work with an agency? You know, they take like a fee from me. I'm like, yeah, but they need me, I need them. And I really need them. They help me out a lot. And, you know, they probably have those. I'm sure they have insurance if something were to happen to me on a job. Or, you know, so they have those things. I don't have that for myself. So, I mean, I'm sure I can, but it's going to be a lot of money. But when I could just go through them, and it's just like clients will request me more through them and just certain things. So, and then with me, like, how do I know they're just not going to go to another girl and get a lower payment for what they want done? Right. So, I mean, it just depends. I usually prefer going through an agency. Payment scares me. Payment scares me because at the end of the day, I don't want to do a job. And
no one wants to work for free. Yeah,
exactly. So. And then not get my payment, you know?
Well, talk about your experience with doing the ring girl, like the ring girl. Yeah. So I know that one you did it on your own.
No, the first time I actually did through a company called KO Boxing, and that was through the agency. And how I first got in the ring for that is one of the girls kind of, someone hurt themselves or something.
Yeah.
And they needed a last minute backup. They literally called me like probably like 4 or 5 hours before. And Liz was like, can you do this? And I was like, yeah. And I called out of work. And I'm like, don't tell my job. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I think I ended up telling them straight up because I've been there for 7 years. So I do have the ability sometimes to be like, I got a really good job offer. Like, can you help me out? And they'll be like, yeah, we got your back.
Nice.
But other times they're like, no, you got to show up to work.
Yeah.
You know, but so how I ended up in the ring for the first time was they called me because the girl couldn't do it. And they're like, can you do it? And it was one of those things like my first time posing in a bikini. I just had to go and do. And I was thinking in my head, like, and that's another reason why you got to be bikini body ready, because sometimes you're going to be called for jobs.
Yeah, you got to be ready.
You got to be ready because they're not full outfits. They're a shorts and a bikini top, or Thompson boxing was a very short skirt with your own shorts under it and a crop top. So you do have to always be ready. Like, you always have to be bikini ready, because the minute that you aren't, they're going to call you for a job. I can guarantee it. I've been in that position so many times where I'm like... like, you know, and that's when I learned, I'm like, okay, I always have to be ready. And I started working out more, and it was more just for work, basically, because it was always when I wasn't bikini body ready, they were calling me for a job. And that's kind of what happened the first time in the ring too, but I was still like, okay, it was in the summer, it was okay. But that was the first time someone got in the ring. I want to say Liz actually got in the ring herself and showed me, okay, this is what you do. And then after that, you kind of figure out your own style. And depends on the music, and you figure out your own sound, how you want to walk with it and do your little bumps with it. And then Thompson boxing.
The bump.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like,
that
it just depends.
Tight.
Some people don't do it. Some people pose with it. It just depends. Sometimes they don't pose with it. Or like, I've been in the ring like a certain amount of rounds and I don't want to do the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I've actually I did KO boxing, Thompson boxing. I did the most recent. Yeah. And I hope I could keep working with them. But, and then I've also done, I think it was an LA Sheriff fight. And then it was against, was it LA Sheriffs or LAPD? I want to say it was LA Sheriffs.
PD? Probably LA Sheriff versus PD?
No, they were actually fighting boxing sheriffs from London.
Oh.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So I got to do that fight too. And that was cool too. So we got to meet people from London. Yeah. And they're like, oh, you're going to come to her? Because I think next year they do the same fight, but in London. I'm not too sure. Yeah. But yeah, so I did that also. So I haven't done too many.
A free trip to London.
We'll see. I don't know. It just depends. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have their own girls too. Yeah. But yeah, so I've done that as well, but it just depends. But yeah, no, the ring is like what makes me the happiest. Yeah. And I hope and the thing is too, once you get that experience and they see you doing multiple fights, and I've done KO fights multiple times, I want to say 3 or 4 times, people start noticing you and they're like, oh, you have experience in the ring. Yeah. Because they won't teach you. They won't get in the ring and teach you. Liz did that because she was nice. Yeah. You know, because I did Thompson boxing and no one taught me what you're going to do or how you're going to start. You kind of have to ask another girl or like kind of figure it out. Because I also did Star MMA. And that one's at Commerce Casino, and no one taught me. Actually, I think they did give us time before, but no one got in the ring and said, okay, this is what you're going to do. Yeah. And you just kind of have to watch other girls and figure it out yourself. But no one really, usually I got lucky that Liz was just nice enough to show me my first time. And then after that, I'll show girls now. Nice. But it's just because I got lucky, you know? But there's so many times where I've shown up to do ring jobs and no one taught me. They're like Thompson boxing, you show up like 15 minutes before and you just go in. But I mean, I'm used to it now, so I'm okay doing that. Right. But yeah. Yeah,
that's when I saw you. I was like, hey, wait, I know her.
I know when you posted it, I was like, when did he see that?
Yeah,
I'm surprised
I was watching
he saw
live.
it.
I was watching it live and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I had friends watching it live too. And they were like, they texted me. They're like, are you at this fight? I'm like, yes, I am. Yeah. That's so cool. No, it was really fun.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
man.
It's a really lively crowd there.
The difference is now, I may be wrong with this. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but in boxing, all the ring girls are in heels, and in MMA, they seem to be wearing just like sneakers.
Yeah, you know what? When I did my first MMA fight, they gave us an option between sneakers or heels, but all the girls had to decide together because we kind of always all had to be matching. But that is true now that I think about it.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, because when I did my MMA one, I did it in sneakers, and I was so happy because it was so comfortable. But when I do KO boxing, we do wedge sneakers. The Gata does wedge sneakers as well. It just depends.
You may have to show me what a wedge sneaker is later.
It's like the sneaker with a platform, so it's not a heel. It's kind of like a
like the soda shoes from back in the day. Remember
yeah. Oh, okay. It's kind of like soda those. Shoes. Yeah, but no one knows what that is anymore. I'm kidding.
Just age myself.
Yeah. No, so I mean, it just depends too on the
Yeah.
agency, on the company, because some people just want everyone like really uniform.
Yeah.
Thompson Boxing want us all uniformed with our heels. KO Boxing too, we kind of all choose together as a group if we want heels or sneakers.
Yeah.
The times I did MMA and that was Spar Star, I did in sneakers, but it's so much comfier in sneakers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
but
course,
also
yeah.
sometimes too in the heels you feel like a little different, like you feel sexy and
Yeah.
like you feel a little different. So it's kind of fun in the heels too.
The traditional ring girl kind of
Yeah,
thing,
but
right?
it's a little bit harder in heels because, and then you have to wear thick heels because if you wear thin heels, it'll poke a heel
Right
in the
through the
mat.
apron,
Yeah,
yeah.
so they tell you have to wear thick heels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just depends on what you like. Or sometimes I've stepped into the ring in heels and I'm like, oh, like, yeah.
So for your choice, if you had a choice, what would you prefer to do? Keep doing the ring girl stuff or modeling outside?
100% ring girl.
Ring
yeah,
girl.
yeah.
Because
So,
do you have a passion for boxing?
I actually really, really enjoy it, but I'm very into like amateur, but it's only because I've gotten to like learn more of the fighters as I've worked different fights and stuff, because like now I see the same people, the same fights. I'm like, hey, I met you here. Like it's a lot of the same fighters or like, and it just depends. So a lot of the same fighters. And
do you
stuff.
get to see them backstage and kind of hang out and say what's up?
No, because they're usually focused behind stage and we're in the audience the whole time. And then when you hear the little wood slam, it's your time in there.
Yeah.
But usually the most you get with them is your picture in the ring with whoever won. And then sometimes after you'll meet them after, and usually they'll find us on Instagram or something after. But a lot of them I've met, it's just because I've consistently worked fights with them where they've been in the same fight with the same company multiple times.
Yeah.
And then you just start to getting to know everyone in like the boxing community, and it's its own little community as well. So you start to get to know a lot of the same people in there.
Yeah.
So it just depends. But yeah, you don't really hang out with them. Yeah. So when I'm there, it's literally to work and be in the ring, and then we leave right after. Yeah. It's been like that.
In modeling and well, maybe it's separate ring girl, but the modeling, are you guys union or has anyone talked about unionizing?
No.
Have you guys never had that discussion?
No.
Yeah.
We're like our own little thing. You kind of have to consider yourself your own business as well, kind of, because.
Do you guys 1099 or you work?
1099.
Oh, you do.
Mm-hmm, yes.
So you're contractor.
Yeah.
Kind of, right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right.
Definitely, yeah. And it's funny because I've worked with like last year I think I did 6 different agencies or something. So when it was time for my taxes, I took like a big stack to my tax person. I was like, okay, here's my 1099s, but here's also my waitressing stuff. I think it was total 6 because I had total 3 restaurants, and then the other 3 were
long form they had to
do. No, my poor tax lady, I think she was like confused. I was like, these are all my 1099s and W2s. Yeah. And then with waitressing, I get taxed on my tips. So that's also different as well.
That's right. Yeah.
And then with modeling, I feel like I pay my taxes at the end of the year. So I get money back from waitressing, but I also owe a lot of money back.
Yeah.
So I have to also throughout the year, like, proportion out to like make sure to put some aside because I know I'm going to owe money with taxes later on.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too that you have to think about, because then what are you going to do if you don't have that backup money?
Yeah, then you're going to get arrested like Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. No, so you have to keep that in mind as well. That's another thing. But for me, I'm just lucky because I get my money back from getting taxed on my tips throughout the year. And then I get that money kind of back when I do my taxes, and I just pay my modeling money with that. Yeah. But I usually just break slightly even. Yeah.
Well, as long as you're not having to pay, then you're good.
I mean, technically I do pay. I just take from the money I get back and I pay it back, you know, but yeah. And then actually this past year I paid it back to the wrong person. Then I had to double pay. That was a big learning lesson for me I had to like, because I paid it online, and I guess I paid it to the wrong thing, and then I still got to figure out how to get that money back. But yeah.
Oh, you haven't?
Yeah, I still haven't gotten it back, and it was a pretty good amount of money. Yeah, so I had to go, and then I got a late letter in the summer saying like, you still haven't paid your taxes. I was like, I paid my taxes. Yeah. And I had to go back and figure out what I did wrong. I was like, it was another adult learning lesson. Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
But it seems like it seems like everything in your life has been it's just going outside of it and learning it on your own. You know, like leaving your house. Learning how to deal with all that 12 roommates, leaving that, learning how to deal, you know, just.
I literally, like when I was living at home, I didn't know about a credit card. I mean, I knew about a credit card, but I didn't have one. I would pay everything in cash for my tips. And, you know, I tried to get an apartment right away when I moved out. I couldn't.
No credit. Yeah.
No, I literally had to go on Craigslist and find roommates, you know, but it was because I wanted to go get a nice apartment right away. and I couldn't because they're like, oh, what's your credit score? And I didn't really have one because I didn't have a credit card yet, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so now I have a credit score. So now I'm able to get my own place. You know, I had to build myself up, but I also didn't know that for a long time. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have much of a savings when I was like, if you asked me like probably 3-4 years ago, I didn't have probably much of a savings at all. Like I would just spend all my money and I'd be like, oh, I have $60 left in my checking account. Let me go get dinner. You know, I used to think like that. And now I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? Like you could have used $60 to fill up your tank. Like
it's
you
just
shouldn't
like
have been
learning
doing that.
things that you just learn
But
on the
you
go,
live
though.
and you learn. Yeah, no.
You know, we totally brushed on the fact that you had 12 roommates, and I'm sure you had stories for days about that.
Not really. No, I wasn't really there. No, because I paid extra for my own bathroom in my room.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I paid a little bit extra to have like the master bedroom bathroom. They're just like there's like literally people everywhere all the time.
I'm
so
sure
like,
with their guests coming in,
I do
probably
have horror stories though, but they're all very nice people, and I do have horror stories. So I don't want to say them because they're kind of like my fans too.
Okay.
They support me at the end of the day. They're so nice.
Yeah.
It's like a Filipino family, and they're the nicest people. They fed me at first.
Yeah.
I think they thought I was like I didn't have money or something, and so they would always feed me. They were
Let's
just
take
like
her in.
really nice. They were really nice people. They would always tell me like they would always have white rice. And they'd be always like, oh, eat. And like they would always bring me food or give me food. They're like, oh, we brought this back for you. And so they were really nice, but I do have some horror stories. I just can't. I don't want to say it.
All right, we'll leave that
like,
for
I don't
like
want to say
maybe
it.
behind the scenes, and we'll put it.
I don't want to say it because I don't want to. They were very nice people at the end of the day, but I do have a lot of horror stories. But there's just literally people everywhere. But it was the best I could do at the time, you know. And
I mean, all learning experiences, like you said. So for your school, you're majoring in speech
pathology. Also child development, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How's that going along? I mean, almost
difficult.
done. How many years do you have left?
I'm hoping like a year left.
A year left?
I'm hoping. Yeah. No, and I'm going to be graduating without loans. So I've been paying school
cool.
in cash.
Congratulations.
Yeah. No, so I've been paying school in cash this whole time as well. But I started off at community. I went to Fullerton Community College, and then I transferred to Cal State LA. Yeah. And that's where I attend now. And so it does say I make too much, so I don't really get financial aid. But I got a scholarship this year. And so that helped a lot, but I've been paying it in cash. Yeah. And that was my main goal. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to use my degree later on, or who knows where life's going to take me. Maybe I'll keep modeling until I'm 50. Yeah. You know?
Well, that was going to be my next question is, do you have something lined up, like a job kind of thing that you're aspiring to get to in child development?
I also do. Okay, so I started doing speech pathology, and I was just like, I always thought, I was like, oh, this is going to be like the one for me, the major that I want, the job. Because I knew I didn't really want to be a preschool teacher. And because both of my parents are teachers. So I grew up with them being teachers. And I kind of grew up saying, I'm never going to be a teacher like my parents. Yeah. But I don't know if I just said that because I just said I didn't want to be like my parents. Yeah. But I do have child development. But it's because I truly love it. And I enjoy learning about it. And I really enjoy like learning the mindset of children at a young age. Yeah. So that's the only reason why I continue to major in it. And then I thought speech pathology was going to be the one. And so I did all the classes for it in community. I transferred. I started taking the major specific classes for it. And I was like, I don't like it. And it was just because it's so difficult. And I have so much more respect for people who are speech pathologists now. Yeah. But I was so deep in, I couldn't really change it. And they're like, but you can there's something else that I found that I wanted to do. But they're like, you should probably finish it. But you can get like a certification to become a child life specialist, which you kind of have to need some of the same classes as a speech path major. So speech path is everything with the mouth. And you have to know all the parts of the mouth. Kind of like what when someone has like a lisp or like they're not saying certain vowels or something, you have to be able to plot it on what part of the tongue you're not using. So a lot of my tests are videos, and I have to diagnose the person what like speech problem they have, or like when someone has a seizure, what sort of part of the brain is affecting certain parts of speech, or like they have something, it's called aphasia or Broca's aphasia, and it's like when you have a seizure and you lose your speech. And so my whole plan originally when I was in high school is I wanted to help someone regain their speech with major brain injuries. So that's the whole reason why I wanted to do it. And then I started going to school for it, and I just like I've never been great at school. I actually dropped out of community college like probably 3 times. Yeah. And it was partly because my mom and dad told me you have to go to college, and I was just like, oh, watch me, like I'm gonna drop out. I was really dumb. And
but you kept at it.
Yeah, no. So what happened was I was working at a beauty supply store, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. So you got to figure something out, because I wasn't good at anything. And then so I went back to school, and that time, like in community, it was for myself. It wasn't for anyone else. It was for myself.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing. And then so, but it was just, speech pathology was hard. Like, I'm not good at school. I'm not good at like memorizing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good at being a waitress. I'm good at modeling. Like, with waitressing, I have really good facial recognition. Like, I can see your face and probably serve you once or twice and remember your drink and your food order every time from then on. And I'm really good at that. And I'm really good at pleasing people and making them happy. Like, I have people be like, oh, I'm bringing in my clients. Like, make sure you're serving me. And like, I'm really good at taking care of people and making them happy.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm good at. But like, there's obviously not a degree for that.
Right.
So I had to figure it out. And then with speech pathology, it was just like memorizing all the parts of your jaw, like different things, and knowing what parts of the brain. So it's a lot of studying, and I have to finish it because I'm so deep in.
So you are going to finish it.
Yeah, I have to finish it. Yeah. There's no going back because if I do, I'm going to have to go and retake all these classes, pay for it. That's the other thing, is it's just so expensive.
The investment alone.
Yes.
That's funny. You're going to finish it for the investment. But no, what if you figure out, take that passion that you have in waitressing and the modeling, and then try to see how you can apply it to.
I mean, I don't know if I could apply it for child development.
I mean, I don't know how to do it either. I'm just trying to see.
Be sending in models as like preschool teachers. No. Well, it's just at the end of the day, I want my degree.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, so I'm going to be getting a certification. It's called Child Life Specialty. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you explain the surgery to a child and their family before they go into surgery.
Okay.
So, and you work directly with the doctor for that. So that is what I'm going to get my certification in. But there is some things that I have in mind. I would love to own a restaurant or a bar one day.
Nice.
I would really love that. And I do understand that it takes 7 days a week, no holidays and stuff, because I already go through that myself, working in the service industry. And so that would be cool. I do want my own business. I plan on opening something soon. Yeah. Within the next year, hopefully by New Year's Eve next year. My plan is to open something, but I don't want to say what it is yet because I don't know. I don't like saying like big things yet until it happens, because what if it doesn't happen? Then you're going to be like, you said you're going to do this. And then I'll be like,
Now, some people might say if you speak it, you're
going to manifest it. Yes, which is what I don't know how I feel about manifesting, because some people are like, oh, you have to speak it and you're going to speak it into the universe and you're going to manifest it. But I think in order to manifest something, it's going to be hard work. It's going to be blood, sweat, tears.
But the manifestation, all it is a head game.
Yeah.
When you put it out there, now you just challenge yourself to make it happen.
I guess. You know, but for me, it's like, do you know how many days I don't want to go to work? Or like when I was working the 3-4 jobs at one time just last year, I was doing that. I would be like crying in the mornings that I didn't want to. I would be at the bar working until 2, 3, 4 in the morning, cleaning up after everyone left. And I would be getting up at 6 a.m. for a shoot, or 7 a.m. to go to a job and get ready for a job. And I would be like literally crying to myself, telling myself, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And I didn't want to do it, but I knew I wanted to get myself out of the place I was at. There was multiple things I wanted. I wanted a bigger savings account. There was a lot of things that I wanted, but I knew I had to do it. And I lived off of Red Bulls, Bangs, coffees. Yeah. Like I was the caffeine queen. Like we would joke around that my blood type was caffeine, because that was how many Bangs and Red Bulls I would drink in a day, or coffee. I always had a coffee in my hand. Yeah, and people would tell me like, you look mad or you look tired. I'm like, it's because I'm working 7 days a week for the past like 3 months, you know? I would make myself sick and tired. I would come home and knock out. And I'm so proud that I did that, because it taught me work ethic. And there's so many things that I still don't want to do sometimes. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. But now I'm just like, okay, you had it way worse a year ago. Yeah. You're living in a 3-bedroom house with 12 roommates, and there's so many times I woke up for jobs and I was drop dead exhausted, and I'd literally be crying. I'd be like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I doing this to myself? I can just go back and live at home. Yeah. You know, I did pay rent at home, but like it was so much cheaper. Yeah. So there's just like a lot of things where I was just like, oh my gosh, like I was just repeating in my head, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. You're going to be okay. You're going to do it. Or there's so many times where everything in the world went wrong. Like that day, like one thing after another, after another, after another. And I'd be all like, you can do it. Like I would just like but I'd be like full on crying, and I'd be like, no, you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it. Yeah. And I would just like be repeating in my head. So I don't know if I believe in manifestation, but I do like, I don't know, I don't like telling like big things, and then when I don't do it, then I look dumb. I feel like
but I
feel like it's more like a self thing though, of how you think about yourself.
Yeah.
I think everyone's
Well, maybe
different.
you can manifest it to yourself.
I
like
mean,
you just, like right now, you said, I'm gonna do it, and you did it.
Yeah.
So,
no, I did it. But it's just like bigger things. I just feel like if I can't do it or I don't end up doing it, you're going to look at me a year later and be like, you just said you were going to do this.
Yeah.
Watch, you're going to interview me at this time next year. And you're going to be like,
hey, what happened with
Yeah. And then I'm going to sit there like,
No. I see the struggle. I see the struggle, and I see some of your accomplishments, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, and sometimes I don't want to put it on social media too. Like a lot of the things that I do, that's another thing is social media is a big thing. Is like a lot of people, if they don't see it, they don't realize you're doing it. And I'm like,
it never happened.
Yeah. Or like people will be like, why are you so tired? I'm like, girl, I stayed up till 4 a.m. studying last night and doing a paper because I had to come to work, you know? So
you need to start putting in those things now, because everybody puts in all the positive stuff on
Instagram.
Sometimes
I do put up like after the gym, I'm all sweaty and stuff, and I was like exhausted there. But like there's so many times like, and I just don't want to. There's certain things in my life that I want private that I don't want on my Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't. There's so many things now that I've just learned that I don't want. And I don't have a big following yet or anything either. But I do have a big enough following where people notice things.
Yeah.
But
well, and then they notice you on TV. I mean, how many times? How many people did you? How many screenshots did you get? You know,
from Thompson Boxing, I was like telling them. I was telling everyone, I was like, send me pictures. Yeah, I had a lot of friends who were like, Amaris, is that you? And because like I was fighting, his name's Honey Torres, and he went to, or I have a lot of friends from Santa Fe Springs area, and I think he's from that area. I'm not really sure.
No, he's from, I think, Compton, but he trains out in Santa Fe Springs.
Is that what it is?
Or Whittier. He trains in Whittier, but he fights.
But a lot of people that, my best friend, she lives in Corona now, but she grew up in Santa Fe Springs. She went to Santa Fe, and all her friends were watching the fights for him, and those are the ones texting me. They're like, Amaris, are you doing something right now? Yeah. And then I think they saw my Instagram too, and then it just kind of added up. They're like, cheer for Honey. And I was like, I can't really, I have to stay kind of like mutual. Yeah. But they are really cool to see, and especially when you know someone. I told him, I was like, when I told him in the ring, I was like, you know my friends. He's like, dude, how do you know them? Yeah. So that was kind of cool too. And then he added me on Instagram after. But yeah, they're all like, and then so like we'll most likely be at the same fight another time too. Yeah. But like, yeah, it's kind of cool when my friends are like, wait, you're at that fight, and they're all like, oh, if you had told me, like I would have gone. But sometimes I don't like saying it either. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I get weird about it because I just feel like no one's gonna come support, or like
just put it out there. Just put it out there.
But sometimes I also just like having it as a surprise too, where all of a sudden I'll be like, bam, like here I am, you know. Yeah. So it just depends on my mood. But I've been like, especially these last couple months, I've been a lot quieter about things I do on social media. Before I used to be everything, and then now I've been trying to put my phone away more and not. But there's so many like joys in my life I do want to share, like my nieces. I have a new nephew, and like, so I do post that a lot when I have time to see them.
That's all the story stuff, right?
Yeah, everything's on the stories. And then the other thing is my Instagram's my resume now. Yeah. So a lot of people for jobs, I send in my Instagram link. So all my pictures are me, which is like, sometimes I'm just like, I should really create a private account for my family and stuff. So I could put like pictures with my nieces, because I don't want to send that to a job and it's like me and my pictures with my nieces. Right. Yeah. So my nieces call me Hoochie.
Why do they call you Hoochie?
My sister showed it my Instagram, and they're like, we saw you in a bathing suit. Like they know, they see they're little.
How old are they?
I want to say 4 and 5, and then I have a nephew now who's a month old. Yeah, no, but they call me Hoochie, Auntie Hoochie.
Auntie Hoochie,
because they look at my Instagram. But yeah, and they see it. It was funny when they saw the El Troquero newspaper that I was in. They're like, "Wow, Hoochie!" I was like, I told my sister, I was like, "Why do you teach them that?" And she just laughs.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah.
We gotta call it a night, because it's almost New Year's Eve. Right, it's New Year's Eve, so yeah, technically, right. So we'll do a cheers.
Is it midnight?
It's almost midnight.
Is it midnight?
We'll let people.
We don't have alcohol. We have water.
No, yeah, we're doing the skinny diet. So
yeah, we're getting bikini body ready for next year.
Bikini body ready. I gotta go topless. Remember?
Yeah.
So, anyways, we'll count it down. Again, thank you very much, Amaris. This is Talking Again podcast. Fidel's right here. Tap Studios.
Yes.
So countdown: 10, 9, 8.
7, 6, 5, 4. You chose a long countdown.
Okay, 3,
2,
1. Cheers.
Happy New Year's.